Hello everyone. We hope you're having a great day today. Heartland is here with a new episode, and we're ready to discuss every single detail in it. The episode's title was Bluebird, and it was the 7th episode of Season 15. This episode was different from the others, as it had the least number of Heartland cast and was revolving around one main plot and another side one, rather than focusing on multiple small plots at once. Amy was at the center of the episode, which we loved since it's been a while she was the center of any Heartland plot. However, since the showrunners cannot write her a joyful arc or happily ever after because of her longing after Ty, she first had to say goodbye to her beloved husband at first. The task was not easy by any means. Well, we watched Amy mourning after Ty throughout Season 14. However, somehow, still, it feels like she is still mourning inside and couldn't recover from the incident. Therefore, we, as the audience, were also unable to imagine her living her life happily in the absence of Ty. Thus, we also believe that such an episode was needed so that we can get to see more episodes with Amy at the center. When Amy was happily driving her car with Lindy in the backseat, a bitter coincidence took place at the beginning of the episode. She saw Grady, the man who shot Ty at the gas station. Shocked by the incident, she rushed back home and checked the newspaper piece with the headline announcing the guy's punishment, to be sure that she truly saw him. Well, she was right. This incident shook her to the core. Amy was just about to focus on her life, leaving the mourning period behind. However, this coincidence brought all sorrowful memories back, causing her to suffer all over. Seeing her like this broke both Jack and Tim. Jack was keeping his cool, knowing that he had no option but to wait for Amy's pain to go away. However, Tim couldn't stand waiting and drove to the gas station to confront Grady. He aimed to scare him off and force him to move out of town. When Grady was insisting on living in the Hudson, Tim couldn't help himself but punch him. Of course, it was inappropriate to do so, but still, we get him and his suffering, as he was feeling helpless in face of her daughter's sorrow. Everybody was thinking, rightfully, that it was unfair for Grady to move on to his life while Ty is in his grave. Again, we can't help ourselves but agree with the Heartland family at this point. Even Amy, who has an angel-like personality in normal circumstances, confessed in this episode that she wants to see Grady suffer and is struggling in doing the right thing, which is understandable in our opinion. Mourning is not an easy task to have, especially when your loved one is killed off by someone. It's almost impossible to not blame the killer. In Ty's case, the situation is a bit more tricky as Grady was initially aiming at a wolf, not Ty. Therefore, all the Heartland family is in a moral dilemma. On the one hand, they need someone to blame, so that they can direct their anger to him. However, on the other hand, they know that it's not 100% fair to blame Grady for Ty's death, as his shot wasn't intentional. Of course, this doesn't mean that Grady shouldn't be held accountable for his crime. On the contrary, he should suffer for what he has done. And yet, his suffering shouldn't come from the Flemings, as this would only turn into a cycle of vengeance and wouldn't lead to anything good. When we empathize with Tim's raw feelings on the case, we also support Amy's morally right stance. She decided to do the right thing no matter how difficult it's to do. It showed once again that Amy is one of the best characters that the TV screen has ever seen. She has a larger-than-life heart that is capable of facing everything. However, she is also not an unrealistic, angel-like figure that is hard to identify with. She is relatable since she never goes as far as to forgive Grady. She faces him, tells him that she is still suffering and the reason is him. She also lets him know that she is strong enough to live her life, no matter what happened to her. She shows that she hates him but still refuses to be devastated by him by letting him consume the entirety of her life. Well, this is more than respectable in our opinion. It's just an admirable position on the part of Amy and we love it. In our opinion, the show handled this tricky situation greatly by showing the morally gray area and still enabling its characters to do the right thing. We also have to mention the symbolic meaning of the episode. Throughout the episode, we watched Amy remembering her memories with Ty through flashbacks. All these scenes were more than lovable, and our eyes teared up in every single one of them. We are no stranger to having flashbacks with Ty, as Season 14 was filled with them. However, Season 14 was the season of mourning after Ty. In Season 15, we watched Amy moving on with her life so far. Therefore, when we watched this episode, we had the sudden worry of a Season 14 throwback. And yet, the meaning behind the episode was bigger than just a simple throwback. The Bluebird was a farewell to Ty, completing the job that was left incomplete in Season 14. With this episode, we saw Amy's determination to move on with her life as she vocalized her feelings openly. She expressed clearly that she is ready to leave this mourning period behind as she feels truly happy as of now. This also suggests that we can expect Amy to have new exciting experiences in her life, as she will no longer be portrayed as a sad widower in the series. Do you agree with our opinions? Who was right in approaching Grady in your opinion? Let us know what you think in the comments below. Thank you for watching. See you soon.